The third episode of the Disney Plus show Percy Jackson and the Olympians has hit the streams and proves to be quite an exciting ride. We join Percy Jackson and his adventures in the second incarnation of the events of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, the first book by Rick Riordan in the popular fantasy novel series of 5. The show featured a double episode premiere, which had the loyal fans of the books excited with the show's portrayal of the source material. It was quite a delight to jump into the world of Percy Jackson and the mythical creatures and monsters that come with it, with the occasional appearance of a Greek god here and there. Titled We Visit the Garden Gnome Emporium, after the 11th chapter in the book, episode 3 follows up on the excitement set up by the first 2 episodes and delivers on the promised thrill in a fantastic manner, along with providing a handful of huge reveals that impact the story of the show and its characters. We at Marvelous Videos are here today to break down the events that occurred throughout the third episode and shed light on story reveals that explain some plot points so you don't get lost in the action when the show progresses. So without any further ado, here is Percy Jackson and the Olympians episode 3 breakdown and ending explained. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Percy gets offered a quest. The episode kicks off with Percy entering the attic of the big house at Camp Half-Blood, where he encounters a gaunt figure sitting in a chair resembling a skeleton used for Halloween decoration. Percy makes his request for the quest to the gaunt figure, who turns out to be the Oracle of Delphi, who upon receiving Percy's request comes to life and appears to vomit a green smoke that takes the shape of Gabe, Percy's stepdad. The image of Gabe gives Percy his quest, which goes, "You shall go west and face the god who has turned, and you shall find what was stolen and see it safely returned," referencing back to the events as summarized by Mr. Brunner and Mr. D at the end of the last episode. The god who turned being Hades, who rebelled against his brothers, and the thing being stolen being Zeus's master bolt. The Oracle also tells Percy, "You shall be betrayed by the one who calls you friend and fail to save what matters most in the end," which is revealed at the latter part of the episode. Then we see Percy along with Mr. Brunner and Mr. D at his selection ceremony, accompanied by the most compelling candidates for the quest at Camp Half-Blood. Mr. Brunner confirms that the journey Percy will have to embark on leads him toward the underworld, the entrance to which lies under the city of Los Angeles, and he will have to choose 2 candidates for the quest. Percy makes no hesitation in choosing his first questmate, Annabeth Chase, the exact instant Mr. Brunner finishes his sentence. Percy explains that Annabeth wouldn't hesitate to do what's necessary for the dangerous mission to succeed, including pushing Percy down the stairs, a decision that Mr. Brunner respects. The scene ends without showing who Percy picked as the second questmate. Gearing up for an adventure, Percy goes to see Grover, who is shoveling the excrement of wild Pegasus roaming about in the environment as a punishment given to him by Mr. D for telling Percy the secret about his mother against Mr. D's will. Grover apologizes for missing Percy's selection ceremony and asks him who Percy picked to be his questmates, which is when Percy reveals to Grover and the audience at the same time that Percy's second pick was Grover. Initially, he doesn't believe it, but as Percy explains that he trusts Grover and trust is the most important thing for him on this quest, Grover expresses his excitement by saying that he's going to pack the best snacks for the trip. Later, when Percy is packing his bag in the silent halls of Poseidon's cabin, he is visited by Luke Castellan. Percy is confused about a bag of coins and what they were used for when Luke explains to him that they are, in fact, golden drachmas, the currency of the mythic world. Luke brings over a box for Percy and hands it over to him, which Percy unboxes to find a pair of common sneaker shoes in the box. In an attempt to explain things to yet again confuse Percy, Luke pulls one of the shoes out of the box and says the word Maya, which magically makes the shoe grow a wing on the side. He tells Percy that it was a gift given to Luke by his father Hermes, and it might be helpful for Percy to have the shoes on the adventure he's about to embark on. Percy proceeds to explain to Luke why he chose Grover over him, as Annabeth is Luke's little sister, and she wouldn't hesitate to do what's necessary for the success of their mission, even if it means getting in the way of Percy rescuing his mother from Hades. So Percy was afraid that Luke and Annabeth would get on the same side against Percy if the necessity of their quest demanded it. Luke understands this and advises Percy to take care of each other on the quest. The true nature of Talia's end. Percy asks Grover about a tree that Annabeth is saying goodbye to, and Grover gives Percy a backstory. When Luke, Talia, and Annabeth reached the camp, they were being chased by the Furies, agents of Hades, including their algebra teacher, Mr. Dodds, whose real name is Alecto. Talia tried to fight back in order to buy some time for Luke and Annabeth, despite the advice of her satyr protector. At the last moment, her father Zeus himself intervened to preserve her life and honor her sacrifice by changing her form into a pine tree that protects Camp Half-Blood with a magical barrier. Percy, who isn't amused by the story, gets on Annabeth's bad side by disrespecting Talia. Later in the episode, we also learned that the unsuccessful satyr protector of the forbidden child of Zeus, Talia, along with her brother and sister Luke and Annabeth, was none other than Grover himself. Alecto offers Annabeth a deal. Annabeth, Grover, and Percy takes the bus as Percy cannot be risked traveling via air, as the sky is Zeus's domain and the forbidden child of Poseidon is not expected to survive the journey through the skies. Grover also explains to Percy that heroes' quests are world-defining events capable of making or breaking empires and changing the balance of power on Olympus. When the bus stops at a gas station, Annabeth advises Percy against disembarking the bus, as there might be monsters on the lookout for Percy, and the terrible stink from the bus lavatory masks the scent of Percy Jackson from the said monsters. Percy and Annabeth get into an argument when Grover starts to clap his hands and sing a song that is supposed to resolve disagreements in a group, which he stops after receiving an abysmal reaction from both of his friends. Annabeth goes to the gas station alone to get chips and sodas for the group when she senses a Fury around. She goes back into the bus to discover none other than Alecto sitting in the front of the bus, with whom Annabeth decides to have a conversation while wearing her invisibility cap. Through this conversation between Annabeth and Alecto, who seem to know each other pretty well, we learn that Alecto was present when Talia died, and that she was actually here on the bus to apprehend Percy Jackson and not kill him. She offers Annabeth to lure Percy into a trap for herself, so Annabeth can concentrate on the quest unimpeded and unburdened by Percy's plan to save his mother. Annabeth quickly runs to the back of the bus to alert her friends as Alecto takes her Fury form. Percy and Grover remove the emergency exit window pane to escape, but Alecto's sister, another Fury, attacks them from the open window when Annabeth stabs her with a knife and kills her. All three of them escape using a satyr path nearby that Grover knows about. Medusa meets the forbidden child. Annabeth accuses Percy of being scared of who he is when Percy makes the suggestion to find a telephone and call Camp Half-Blood for help. Annabeth explains to Percy that he has to accept the fact that he has been tasked with this quest and he is required to move forward with it, irrespective of what he wants. Percy suggests Annabeth call her mother Athena, but it seems like she cannot do it for some reason. Both of them get into an argument again just when Grover picks up the scent of hamburgers in the forest. All three of them follow the scent following Grover's lead, who deduces that whoever is making hamburgers in the forest on a satyr path must be from their mythical world, which leads them outside a house with a lot of statues leading up to it. Annabeth and Grover immediately realize whose house it is and quickly turn to run away, but get blocked by the Fury Alecto, who has been following them. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, the gang stands still as the owner of the house comes outside and introduces herself to Percy and offers them all to step inside for lunch. None other than the famous Gorgon from Greek mythology, Medusa herself. Percy recollects that his mother always told him stories of Medusa, and the point of those stories was always that Medusa was not the monster everyone thought she was. Percy's trust in his mother and her stories drives him to go into Medusa's house rather than face the Fury standing at the doorstep. Grover and Annabeth hesitate for a moment, but quickly end up following Percy's lead. Medusa ensures Annabeth that she does not deserve her hostility, as Annabeth's mother Athena was the one who cursed Medusa. Medusa tells the heroes a story of how she was seduced by Poseidon and was caught by Athena, and how Athena decided to curse Medusa as opposed to confronting Poseidon about their relationship, all of which Annabeth calls lies. This backstory of Medusa is slightly different from the one in the books and may be intentional as a part of Medusa's trap. Medusa's true colors. Later, Medusa manages to separate Percy from the trio and tells him that she feels protective of him, as Medusa and Sally Jackson were both used by the same monster. Percy corrects her, saying that his mother never spoke of his father as a monster. Medusa continues and offers to help Percy on his mission to save his mother by eliminating Annabeth and Grover from the equation, as she explains to him that they might not help him save his mother if it interferes with their quest. By the time she turns around for an answer from Percy, he's gone, which prompts Medusa Medusa to take off the hat she was wearing until then and reveals her head full of snakes. Grover grabs Luke's shoes and the trio escapes to the basement, a stunning labyrinth of Medusa's petrified statues. Grover accidentally activates Luke's flying shoes and levitates off into the air as Annabeth and Percy enter the maze of statues, desperate for a plan. Medusa despises both Poseidon and Athena for punishing her with a curse that turns anyone who looks into her eyes into stone. She feels turning both their children into stone and shipping their statues to Olympus will get her point across clearly. She tries to corner Percy, who stands with his sword drawn and eyes closed, just when Grover crashes into a box, distracting Medusa. Annabeth slips her invisible cap onto Medusa's head and Percy swiftly chops it off, separating it from the body. Percy picks up the invisible severed head of Medusa and carries it outside the house. Alecto, who is still waiting at the door, spreads her wings and charges at Percy, walking toward her when Percy takes the cap off Medusa's head, instantly turning the Fury into stone midair and comes crashing down to the ground. Percy has an idea. Having turned a whole Fury into stone without even trying, Percy gets concerned about the powerful nature of Medusa's head, so he suggests leaving Athena's cap on the head and burying it. Annabeth and Percy confront each other about Medusa talking to Percy about saving his mother, and Annabeth talking to Alecto about making a deal when finally Grover, who was already upset about learning that his uncle Ferdinand was turned to stone by Medusa on his quest, loses his cool on both his friends. He straightens them both up and makes them speak their truth, which is when Percy admits he's scared because the Oracle said he would get betrayed on this quest by a friend, which is the reason he chose Annabeth and Grover, as he could never become friends with the former and the latter is the person he trusts the most. After Percy finally admits why he was afraid, Annabeth reveals to the group that Alecto offered her to help with her quest if she gave Percy up to the Furies, and as a response, Annabeth killed her sister, followed by Percy revealing that Medusa offered to help Percy save his mom if he turned on his friends, to which he responded by beheading her. The group sets aside their differences in a nice moment, just when Percy claims to have a better idea of what to do with Medusa's head. He suggests they ship it to Olympus using Hermes Express, a service frequented by Medusa, an idea with which both Annabeth and Grover disagree. Both of them explain to Percy that it might be impertinent to the gods, but he counterpoints by saying that it might be a tribute, as Medusa despised the gods. Percy pulls Athena's cap off Medusa's head and hands it back to Annabeth as he tapes the box shut. The entrance to Olympus. A man carrying the box packed shut by Percy in the previous scene is seen entering into the elevator of the Empire State Building in New York City. He uses a magical key to unlock a secret button to the 600th floor. The address in the box reads Mount Olympus, 600th floor, Empire State Building. The man delivering the box to Olympus is none other than Hermes himself, portrayed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the 600th floor detail might be an implication of Olympus being situated above the clouds of New York City, drawing direct reference to the pantheon of gods living atop Mount Olympus in ancient Greece. Marvelous verdict. Disney Plus's Percy Jackson and the Olympians manages to keep going strong 3 episodes down by setting up more storylines and introducing new characters, while also solidifying the personalities of the characters met in the previous episodes. Moreover, it adds to more of the exciting lore from the books as well as Greek mythology, even if the show does take some creative liberties. It keeps the fans entertained with references they can enjoy and concentrates on a satisfying retelling of the beloved story. We can't wait to see more of Olympus and the Greek gods when they make an appearance on the show, and make sure to stay tuned to Marvel's videos for more Percy Jackson action when the next episode drops. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.